I was walking on the set and you couldn't really hear a pin drop. It was like, and then suddenly the whispers, it's Spider-Noir, it's Spider-Noir. I imagine like King Arthur, like walking somewhere and hearing in the wind, everyone whispering the name Arthur, you know. I was like, wow, something's exciting going on. And then I took off the mask and I was like, oh, I felt like I did it. Hello, I'm Nicolas Cage, and this is how I became Spider-Noir for the new series, Spider-Noir.
Silvermane's got this city by the throat. The people could use a hero.
What I specifically brought that's different from the Spider-Noir character in the movie Into the Spider-Verse. I had the luxury in Spider-Noir of being on camera as an actor and the luxury of 8 episodes to mine little threads in the narrative that I would not have had time to do in the animated movie. And specifically, the difference would be some of the arachnid DNA coursing through my blood type movements that I thought would be very rich and would differentiate Ben Reilly, Spider-Noir, from all the other Spider-Men. When I met with Sam Raimi for the first Spider-Man movie, he wanted me to play Green Goblin. And I said it would be interesting if you could have one scene with your Spider-Man, whoever it will be, where he's alone in his room and he's moving like a spider. But they didn't do that. Having been a great fan of Jeff Goldblum's performance in The Fly, I really wanted to explore the animality with my body in terms of the movement. And thankfully, I was working with a great team, Oren and Amy. They let me explore that as a concept for this character.
Another headache, huh? That sixth sense thing? You should listen to it. As long as I've known you, it's never steered you wrong.
I'd love to. Trouble is, I'm not currently sure what it's trying to tell me. Being that this is my first television long-form series, I had the time to come up with ideas and plant the seeds in one episode, not entirely sure how it would blossom, but sort of being flexible and loose with it and working with the writers and with the showrunner to see if we can develop it in subsequent episodes. So, for example, Ben going to the cinema and trying to reprogram his body and his voice to be more human, kind of with the risk of giving too much away, explains his manner of speaking, that he was talking like these old movie stars. I knew I was going to talk in that fast-paced talking like the Big Sleep, like a Bogart or a Cagney or an Edward G. Robinson, but I didn't want to necessarily explain it on a deeper level until it occurred to me during the shoot that we could make it as a result of his need to get control of these spider-like tics and this spider way of thinking, that he was trying to become more human again, and I just subsequently started talking like these old movie stars. That was not in the script. That wasn't in any of the episodes. It was just something that happened. The thing that's important to me with a character that's as stylized as Ben Reilly is, was to find a way to make it still rooted in genuine emotion. Even though he talks that way or he's moving that way, there is genuine pain in his eyes. You can go as strange or as big as you want, as long as it's informed with genuine emotional content. Then it communicates.
What happened to your face?
I walked into a door. Any actor who cares enough is going to look for memories and experiences that can help the actor play the part believably and emotionally. And Ben is feeling great remorse that he failed. And so however that communicates to me and what I have to do going through my Rolodex, my library of memory and experience, you naturally will bring it forth so that you can make it work within the context of the character. And so, yeah, I mean, I would just think of places in my own life where I felt it wasn't good enough. The essence of Ben really is that he hangs up the Spider-Noir hero powers and just quits because he failed.
Can't you see that the spider's busy?
There was nothing that I had explored in Ghost Rider or in Kick-Ass that had anything to do with what I was doing as Ben Reilly in Spider-Noir. I wasn't thinking about it as a superhero performance at all. I was thinking about it, as ridiculous as it sounds, as a Roy Lichtenstein performance. I believe in art synthesis, and I believe what you can do in one art form, you can do in another. And I had explored what Warhol was doing with these icons, with these collages, and I put that into Wild at Heart with Sailor Ripley and Elvis. And I was always interested in these pop art mashups of a Lichtenstein painting, down to the printing press pointillism that he would blow up and turn into fine art. And I was thinking, what can I do in acting that would feel like have that essence or that aura like a Lichtenstein painting? And I thought I could take these old style movie stars or from another age. And I also thought a little bit about Amy Winehouse and Back to Black and what she did with these jazz crooners. And I thought, why not do that with these older movie stars as a style, like a conscious choice of a style, and mash it. Just take these two rocks, old style film noir performance and Stan Lee's masterpiece, Spider-Man, and just jam them together and try to get a Lichtenstein-like afterburner explosion with the jet. And that's what I was going for. I didn't know if I was going to get there. I was scared the whole time, like, I'm really doing this. We're going, and I'm not going to back down. I'm amazed that they let me do it, Oren and Amy and Jen and everybody. I think it took guts. I think it was trust, a little bit of love that they let me go. But I wasn't sure it was going to work until I saw all 8 episodes, and I went, whew. I was like, wow, and I started smiling.
My friend disappeared.
You haven't given us much to go.
What can I say? The world's a dangerous place.
I think that the whole meaning of the show was to take the audience and transport them to a New York of another dimension. I remember specifically the first day, and Tracy, who designed all the wardrobe so beautifully, she put on the Spider-Noir costume, and I was walking on the set and you couldn't really hear a pin drop. And then suddenly the whispers, it's Spider-Noir, it's Spider-Noir. I imagine like King Arthur, like walking somewhere and hearing in the wind, everyone whispering the name Arthur, you know. And I was like, wow, there's something exciting going on. And I felt like I could hear like Wendy Carlos, electronic Bach music going on. Little Phantom of the Paradise, William Finley and the old De Palma movie, that crossed my mind too, like spooky electronic music and this sort of something a little sinister about it. And then I took off the mask and I was like, oh, I felt like I did it. I'm in a Lichtenstein painting, and I felt very actualized.
What the hell happened to him?
I beat up some guys in a bar. And then I got plastered. My rapport with Lamorne Morris and Karen Rodriguez was very loose and friendly. And we wanted to very quickly create this feeling that we had all been friends for a very long time. And Lamorne, being Lamorne, is extremely likable, and he's so much fun to watch on camera and to listen to in life. And Karen, she has this enormous heart as a person. She's genuinely, in my view, a good person, and you just want to love her. And so that energy was very important for the office repartee where the three of us are all together. There's an enigmatic quality to Lee Jun-lee where you can't take your eyes off of her, and you wonder what she's thinking as this character, Kat Hardy. And I think she really stops the camera. You know, you want to really watch her. And so that was easy for me to get into Ben's attraction to Kat Hardy because he felt it on the set. And the other thing that I really enjoyed about working with Lee Jun-lee is that we could get to that place in, like, for example, the piano scene where they're sort of teasing each other with that Howard Hawks fast-talking repartee. And it's like we were in the same, 8 bars of music, and we're riffing off of each other like jazz music.
Time to show this town who's really in charge.
The different villains in the show did bring out different flavors, and some characters brought out more drama and some characters brought out more comedy in Ben Reilly's persona. Brendan Gleeson was somebody I had admired from watching in The General, and he's always just so authentic, and I wanted to work with him, and I think we both enjoyed the depth that, he brought to that character. Nobody is perfectly good in noir. Everyone's a little chiaroscuro, and that I think makes it more human and more authentic, that there are the dangers always at work. But it was important to me that my character, Ben Reilly, could have been friends with Silverman, with Brendan's character. They kind of develop a strange friendship in the middle of all that, and it was easy because even though he's the heavy, and the villain, I think Ben likes him. They have a kind of a fun dalliance together, or repartee together. Andrew Caldwell, he brought the kind of noir style of acting to his character, which was nice to see. I felt like when I was working with him, we were in the same old movie together, I don't know why, but because his character wants to be a big actor, I wrote this little song called the acting song, where the lights are on, the cameras are on, act, 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 everybody. And I just threw it at him because there was something about his performance that brought that kind of comedy out of Ben. And, that didn't happen with Brendan. But Brendan, it was always a little more deep and sort of a wave of sadness working with Brendan's character. Whereas with Caldwell, it was just like the two of them are just, hard-headed and just amusingly terrible to one another.